What's going on, solopreneurs? My name is Chris Stelzer from the Solo Sales System, and today I'm going to walk you through this calculator that you just signed up for. So before we get started, I just want you to know that when it comes to using advertising to attract new customers or clients to your business, it's really just a numbers game, right? There is an art and a science to things as well, but when you get down to the brass tacks of the issue, it's just a numbers game. So that's what this calculator is for. It's really going to help you. So first, I'm going to discuss the calculator, how to use it, and then how to get the most out of it. Then I'm going to invite you to see if you want to apply for the Solo Sales System, which is a community course and kind of program that I have that helps solopreneurs use paid advertising to reliably and predictably attract new customers or clients to their business. And then I'm going to show you what my results have been, so you know that I'm not some douchebag on the internet, posing in front of a Lamborghini or something. I've actually put my money where my mouth is. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing you need to know about this calculator is that any of the text in blue is areas that you need to change, okay? And so anything in blue you change, and then each row is actually a different scenario. So if you wanted to keep things simple, you could just, after you do file, make a copy of this calculator, you could just delete all these other rows if you want to. I'm not going to do that. I like to keep all these different rows because then I can change different scenarios to see how the numbers back out, right? And so this is really the key to understanding that paid advertising is not only possible for you, it's going to show you exactly what numbers you need to hit in order to be profitable, okay? So change the text in blue, and each row is a different scenario. All right, so the first metric that we need to look at is CPM. So this is how you're charged on advertising platforms like Facebook. And depending on what you're doing, this is how you're charged on Google, not Google search, but I'm not going to get into the weeds. We're going to stay high level so you can understand the math and get a lot more confidence on what you need to do in order to be profitable. Okay, so CPM is the first thing. For one of my niches that I'm in, the CPM is actually $8 to $10, right? So for every 1,000 people that view my ad on Facebook, I pay Facebook between $8 and $10. Okay. Other industries that I've worked in, it's been $125 for reaching 1,000 people. So the cost varies wildly. So whatever niche or industry that you're in, you could go over to Google or your favorite AI tool and say, hey, Google or AI, what is the average CPM that people in my industry are paying to run ads on Facebook, right? That'll just give you a general ballpark idea, okay? Let's say for this example, let's just go somewhere in the middle. Let's say it's $50, okay? So once I change the CPM, you can say all of these other areas in green are changing, right? They're all changing. The next column E, is the click-through rate. Again, in my previous niche that I've talked about, I've had a 1%, 1.5% click-through rate, which is low, right? That means for every 100 people that see my ad, only 1 or 1.5 people are clicking on it. And you might think that's terrible, but as you use this calculator, you can understand you can make great money by just having a 1% click-through rate, right? Let me change this back to $10 per CPM. I'll walk through kind of that scenario for one of my businesses that is in the consumer market, right? Where I made over $1 million. We'll just go with that scenario, and then I'll change it to, if you're in B2B, a more like realistic B2B type scenario, okay, with higher costs, etc. Okay, so we'll just leave the $10 CPM, the 1.5 click-through rate. The next is your opt-in rate, okay? And so really the funnel looks like this. You have an ad. Someone clicks on the ad. They go to your landing page. On your landing page, you're making an offer to them, a free offer, a lead magnet. I'm sure you've heard of this. It's like an ethical bribe is what some people call it. It could be a free report, a free tool, a free download. It could be a webinar. It could be a video. In my case right now, you opted in to get the free ads calculator, right? So that's my lead magnet to you. Okay, and then on this page, and this is why I like all these different rows, because you can see what the scenario looks like if only 10% of people give me their email, if 15, if 20, 25, 30, 35, right? So you can see the different scenarios based on your opt-in rate, which is fantastic, right? And so that's what this column is for. And then the next column, column L, that's your lead to buy ratio. So for everyone that becomes a lead, how many of those leads actually buy? Very simple. Again, in my other business, it fluctuated between 3 to 6%. So if I change this to 3, that changes things, right? That changes the ROI over here, my customer acquisition cost, my net profit, how many units I need to sell, etc. Okay. And then we've got the price of the product. This is the lever that most solopreneurs struggle with moving up, and it can have the biggest impact on everything that you do. I'll just leave it at that. So, most solopreneurs are trying to sell these low price products if they're, in the digital product space, like an ebook, a course, a webinar series, something like that. They're really pricing themselves too low. So in this column, you can change the price, right? So let's say, for example, you change the price to $697 instead of $197, which is exactly what I did. Right? Now look at all these numbers over here. Look at your ROI column. You're now suddenly profitable just by doing that. Okay, let's say $697 is too much. You want to go to $497 for the price of your product, right? Oh, you're still profitable, right? And then finally, column O is your goal. How much do you want to sell, right? I just put 25,000 in here. Let's say you want to be ambitious and you want to sell $500,000. There you go. You can change that, and then you'll see what your net profit is, how much it costs you to acquire a customer, how many impressions you need per month, your net profit percentage, and your return on investment from your advertising. Okay, so really the whole point of this calculator, and this was what was a game changer for me. I was struggling for like 9 years, and I was creating podcasts, blogs, I wrote books, I wrote ebooks, I had a video course. Everything changed for me once I understood the math behind using paid advertising to get customers. Because in the past, I thought it was too expensive. I thought I couldn't afford it. I thought I was going to lose a bunch of money. I thought I was going to waste money. Well, when you have a calculator like this, you can walk through all the different scenarios before you spend a penny on anything and have a lot of confidence moving forward, right? So, for example, this is a realistic scenario here. For my business. And I would say a $10 CPM, a 1.5% click-through rate with a 20% opt-in rate. My lead to buy ratio was pretty close to 3%. It would, like I said, go from 2 to 6%. And the price of the product's $497. And if I want to make 500K, I need to sell 1,000 units or 1,000 copies of my course. And to do that, it's going to cost me $100 to acquire a customer. That's what CAC is. And so then you get your ROI number over here. So it's really quite simple, but powerful. And let me show you my Wicked Reports dashboard so you know I'm not full of shit here. I've got my cost of $337,000. That's how much I've spent on advertising. And this is my revenue, $1 million in sales, right? It's actually closer to 1.2, but this is just kind of the view that I'm looking at. You can see it cost me $207 to acquire a customer. And I've got 1,600 customers here, and you can see my traffic sources down here, right? You can see Facebook, I made 186% ROI. Google Ads, 268. YouTube, 225% ROI. And then you can see my total revenue for each one of these with the costs over here. Okay, so this is a live web page. This isn't a screenshot. So, I do know what I'm talking about. All right. And now I want to invite you to join the Solo Sales System. So this system, it's not just a course, it's a community as well as live calls with me because, courses kind of suck now, right? Even though you can learn a lot from a course, you kind of need the guidance of a mentor, someone who's been there and done that. And that's what I'm offering you here, in addition to having a community of other solopreneurs that you can talk to and form relationships with. And they're going to bring stuff to the table that I had no idea about that is successful, right? So it's just a win-win situation. So I want to invite you to join. And I'll tell you the process on how you can join, right? But first, let's define your problem to see if you're a good fit. So if you're not really clear on who you serve and what problem you solve, this program is for you. Most solopreneurs that I've run into don't understand that business doesn't require some brilliant idea that you think about when you're in the shower. All you need to do is solve a problem for a specific group of people. That's it. What problem do you solve and who do you solve it for? We'll help you define that. And this program, your problem is you can't reliably attract new customers or clients, which means you're always looking for more sales. You're not as profitable as you want to be. And you're sick or tired of spending hours, days, weeks, months, and years on organic marketing. I did that for 9 years and it got me basically nowhere. Once I started using paid advertising and understanding the math behind it, my business exploded literally overnight. And if you're always switching strategies, offers, niches because you think the truth is out there somewhere and that you just need to find it and then you'll be successful, this program's probably for you. So the solution, here's the solution, ladies and gentlemen. You need a system. That's a repeatable process, is a system for reliably attracting new customers or clients for your business and doing it profitably. That's all you need to be successful when you boil it down. It's not rocket science. And to do that, like I said, you need a system for turning those strangers on the internet into paying customers or clients. You're watching this video right now. You've never heard of me. We don't know each other. Yet you're in my sales process right now. So we're going to do the same thing for you. And so the solo sales system could be for you if that's the case. I'm not going to guarantee it. So if you're interested in learning more about how I was able to go from dead broke, struggling, creating organic content for 9 years with nothing to show for it, to a wildly successful and profitable business that allows me a ton of free time to live the life I want, to travel when I want, to hang out with my family when I want, then you're going to click on the link here and book a call with me or an expert member of my team. And we'll talk to you and see, if you're a good fit. When you click on this link, you're going to be taken to a calendar. Okay, pick a date and time that works for you. Then there's very specific questions you need to answer. And so if you don't answer those questions, we won't get on the phone with you because we want to make sure you're a good fit and that we can get you results. So that's why we ask those questions. Okay. So here's the solo sales system. It's a course, it's live calls, and it's community. That's essentially what you need to know. And it's going to be, guided by me, someone who's been there and done that. I've spent my own money to make my own sales for products that I own or services that I provide. Okay, it's just what I do. So this isn't theory. This isn't an abstraction. This isn't the latest trend. I'm not going to be talking. You can use AI in this program. I'm not going to be talking a ton about AI. Even though AI is amazing, you still need the fundamentals, right? And so that's what this course is going to focus on. Plus, you're going to get support from me and others in the community. So the first step to see if you qualify is to click on the link, right? You'll see the calendar widget underneath the video on this page. You can pick a date and time, fill out the questions, and then you'll be talking with us or me. So that's it. If you're sick and tired of not reliably, consistently, or profitably attracting new customers or clients to your business and you want a way to do that, go ahead and book a call, see if you qualify, and we look forward to potentially working with you. Either way, even if you don't do that, this calculator is still going to be valuable for you. So I'd encourage you to play around with it. But if you are serious, go ahead and book your call now. And then, here within the next 20, 30, 40 minutes, you're going to see the link to, click on this calendar, make a copy, go to File, make a copy of this calendar, File, make a copy, so you have your own copy. All right. So that's it. My name's Chris Stelzer from the Solo Sales System. I'll see you on the other side, and I hope to talk with you soon. All right. Take care. Bye.